Hello friends, it's Jay Goodman here with Absolute Zero Internet Studios, and today I am super excited because after years and years and years of trying to tackle and understand custom post types, I have finally figured it out. Through my research, I just couldn't find a comprehensive, complete tutorial on how to set up a custom post type, what I needed, and then be able to do it from beginning to end, meaning what I needed, what plugins I needed, how to display them in the dashboard, and how to get them on the website so that people could see it. So there is some information in the post that I have here that you can read up on as prerequisites. So let's get right into it. So I got my scratch pad up here and I'm just going to write down some notes. Okay, so our ultimate goal is to create and manage custom post types. What I want to do is I'm going to create a portfolio for our design. So I'm going to need a title, a description, featured image, let's see, website URL, and how about we do location, where they're located. Okay, then I want them to be categorized by project type, the technologies used, and status, project status. Go back here, what each project will contain and how jobs will be categorized or filtered. For whatever reason, post types have always been extremely confusing to me, especially with WordPress. These are pages and these are posts, but pages are post types and posts are post types. Okay, everything's a post type. So pages and posts are default post types. So if we want to do something that WordPress can't natively do, then we have to use these custom post types. Before I started messing around with WordPress, I did a lot of custom software with PHP and MySQL. And when you write these custom software products, you use tend to write a lot of add, edit, delete scripts. And so basically that's kind of how I equate the custom post type is to these, is that basically I need a custom add, edit, delete program, and I could do it super easy in PHP, but doing it in WordPress is a little bit different. So I'm going to move this out of the way here. If I go into my dashboard and I say I'll use a post to be able to do this, let's go ahead and add a new post, and we can use the post title, and we have categories. We have a spot here for description, but beyond that, I don't have a spot for the other things that I want. The website URL, the location. I don't have anything else besides these categories. And I suppose I could put like a bunch of categories in there that would address every single one, but that would be a nightmare. So we'll need to create this custom post type. And because there's only this category here, we're going to need to create additional taxonomies or additional filters to be able to sort by project type or project category, depending on how we use it, and maybe what types of technologies used and the project status. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to download the plugins we need, then we're going to set up our custom post type and taxonomies. Next, we'll set up the custom fields that we want to add to that. Then we're going to set up the list in this dashboard here. So when we go to show all, we'll be able to sort out how we want to use this. Then we'll add some data and some images, and then I will show you how we integrate it into the pages so that people can see it. So here we go. So now that we've got our plugins that we need, you're going to see some different things here on the side. Namely, you'll see this custom fields and the CPT UI and also the post list view custom. So next stop is that we want to set up our custom post type and taxonomies. So we're going to go to CPT UI. You can just click on that, and we're going to add a new post type, and we're going to call it A0 Portfolio Projects. And we'll do A0 Portfolio Projects. and A0 portfolio project. Fix that real quick. And then there's a bunch of other things that we can list down here, but I think that is all that we're going to need. I'm going to leave everything else the way that it is and click on Add Post Type. So now we see that we've got this A0 portfolio project. So boom, we just created this. If we click on it, we can now create this. This is a post type. But if you notice, there's nothing here. There's no options that we need yet. We still want our website URL and location and all that stuff, and it's not there. So let's go back to the CPT UI and let's click on Edit Post Types. The next thing that we want to do is, remember, we wanted to categorize these. So we had to add those taxonomies. So what we're going to do is go over here to Add Edit Taxonomy, and we'll create project types and project type for singular, and we want to attach it to that post type, and we'll click on Add Taxonomy, and then we'll add the second one, technologies. Let's add this project status and add that taxonomy. Now, one thing that I forgot about when adding these taxonomies, it's cool that these are here. You see the project types, technologies, project status, but these look like tags, and we want these to be categorized. So we have to go back to our CPT UI, go into Add Edit Taxonomies, and then for each one of these edit taxonomies, we got to scroll down, and there's this hierarchical, and you want to mark that to true for each taxonomy. So I'll switch this to technologies, scroll down, find that true, save taxonomy, and project status. So now, when we go to the portfolio projects and we add a new one, now I can start to add these different project types, different technologies. So I can say project, let's say technologies. I can add a new technology, and I'll say PHP MySQL, and I can go through and add project type. We'll call this WordPress CMS. Say this will be custom development, so on and so on and so forth here. And project status will add completed and in progress, and what the heck, maybe we'll just put in coming soon. So now if we go over to, even if I don't save this and I don't publish this, if I go over here to project types, you're going to see all these project types. I could add them in here as well. So if I could add one and say it's logo design, add project type. And now when I go in to add this new portfolio project, there's my logo design, and I could select all or as many of these as I want. So now when I'm saying that I want these to be categorized or filtered, I've achieved this, because now I can filter these by project type, technology, or project status. Now we want to add these custom fields that don't already exist. So how to do that is we're going to go into custom fields. I'm going to create a new field group, and I'm just going to call this project custom project fields, and I'm going to add a field, and we'll call the first one website address, and then everything else is fine. Let's add another one, and we'll call that location, and let's add another field. And actually, I didn't have this on there, but I'm going to call company name. And we're all going to make these text, but you could make them different stuff. It's pretty cool. You could do radio buttons, checkboxes, whatever. And then the last thing is underneath rules here, when post type is equal to, and if I click down here, I'll find my A0 portfolio project. So I got my fields in here that I want. And if I click publish, now if I go to A0 portfolio projects and add new, what I should see is website address, location, and company name. So now I also, in addition to my filters, I also have these additional fields that I want the project to contain. Quick programming note, after I was thinking about it, it probably makes more sense to add data and images, and then we'll go ahead and set up our dashboard. So we're gonna swap that out. I'll go through one here and then I'll just add a bunch. So we're gonna do the Rockwell Garage. We'll put the address in here. Let's add a featured image. Check completed here and publish. Alright, so I've added these projects to the portfolio, as you can see here. But what would be nice is, as I've added some custom fields like website address. By the way, I changed this from company name to industry just because I thought I have the company name up here in the title, so I really need that. So we have this, but this would be nice to display in my list here. I'd like to see maybe the featured image and maybe the location, maybe the industry. And maybe I don't need to see this stuff for Yoast here. In order to do that, we are going to go down here to Post List View Custom. And the first thing that we need to do is make sure that this administrator user roles is checked. We'll go ahead and save that. Next thing we'll do is we're going to go down here below this Post List View Custom and click on Custom Post Type. We'll find our A0 portfolio project, and I can get rid of this stuff because we don't really need it nor want it. And instead we want to add featured image, industry, and add one more. And then you can move these around, which is cool. You can customize how it looks. Let's go ahead and save changes. And now when we go to our portfolio, now we see our featured image, our title, and also what's cool is that you can sort by these by clicking these links. So we are now in the home stretch here. We have done everything here on the list. We got data and images. We've set up the dashboard the way we want. And now really the completing this whole process is going to be displaying the portfolio on the page, filtered and customized as we want, and also being able to customize each one of the portfolio entries and how that looks. So what I've done here is added a new page called Service Portfolio, and then from this load layout in the Divi Builder, I'm using the existing one, Portfolio, which you can see here is pretty busy. We are going to get rid of all this. So let's just go ahead and get rid of that. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, so this is just what it looks like now, but without our portfolio in there. Now we're going to use that last and super awesome plugin that I was telling you about, which is the Portfolio Post Pro. So how we do this is I'll just add another row, and in this insert module you're going to see two of these DP blog portfolio or DP filterable blog. So the difference between the two is if I want just something specific, so for instance I only want to show website CMS, then I'll pick this one and I'll show you an example of this. So we don't need a custom query, and what I want is I'll go through here, I'll look in these categories, and you'll see as you scroll through you'll find the ones that are from A0 portfolio project. So I want all of the WordPress, and that's all I really need. So I'm going to save this and let's take a look and see what it looks like. Alright, so we have this information in here. I don't like that. I want the grid. So no worries. We could just go back to DP blog portfolio, go into design here, and let's just change this to grid. You can also change it to list if you so choose. There's tons of options in here that you can play around with. So now when we refresh this, we'll see a grid format, much better, and it's going to link to each individual page. Now let's say that I want to add my custom fields. So I'll go back in here, and if you scroll down a ways, you'll have these options. So if we don't want to show the title or we don't want to show the featured image, so I will do show custom fields, and then it'll ask me what the custom field names are. You're going to have to go back and reference that if you don't know what they are already. Since I know at least one of them is location, and then I can also add a field label, or if you just put a space here, because otherwise if you add a label, then it'll say location colon, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to put a space, and then actually you can preview it here and I can show you what it's going to look like. So you'll see that it adds this. If we wanted to add industry, we could do that. So it's pretty flexible, very, very cool. So the second part that I was talking about is, what if I wanted it to be more filtered? So I wanted, instead of this just to say just the web design, I just want to say our portfolio. Well, then what I would do is I could go into here, and let's get rid of that one. And I'm going to use the filterable blog, and I want to show all of these, and I want them to be, I want to show the custom fields like we talked about. I will add location, comma, industry. Now this is important. You have to put a space and then a comma and then another space so that they both show up. And let's just double check that and make sure that works. Alright, you'll see up here that all of those selected, if I click on WordPress, it'll just show those. If I just want custom development, it'll show that. If I want to show them all, it'll show them all. Alright, so the last piece of displaying custom post types is to dynamically display these, and I don't want to use the default WordPress single.php layout here, which is what we're seeing right here. I want to be able to lay it out the way that I want to lay it out. So there is a plugin that I forgot, and it is called Custom Content Shortcode, and there's a link in the description. And what that's going to do is that'll allow us to add shortcode that'll dynamically populate the areas that we want to use on the page. The other thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that the Divi Builder is enabled so that we can access the Divi Builder from our portfolio edit area. So how we do that is I'm just going to go down to Divi and theme options and go to Builder, and you'll see here that this is enabled because I enabled it before, but it'll probably be disabled. So we'll enable it, hit save changes, don't worry about that. And now when we go to the portfolio project page and we click to edit this, now we'll be able to access it with the Divi Builder. You'll see the Divi Builder option there. As I said before, by default, custom post types are going to use the single.php page in the theme, and so therefore that's why it's going to show up as, it's only going to show up using that default. So we want to change that, and how we do that is really, really easy. What we're going to do is you want to open up your favorite editor. You're going to create a page. You're going to put single and then exactly what the name of your custom post type is, which in our case is A0 portfolio project. So we're going to put that. I'm just going to change that, and then I'm going to post this file, which I will include in the description. We'll go ahead and save this, and now when I go back to this page and I refresh it, it now knows to grab the page where we remove the title and the featured image and the sidebar, and we just have a blank canvas that we can work with here. So now we want to show the page, and we want to put our elements where we want them. So I'm going to go into edit the portfolio. Let's say that we want to put we'll have a header here, then we're going to have two things here. So we'll put the featured image here, and then we'll put some of the custom content here. Okay, here's my header, and I'll call this whatever this title is, Seasons at Perk Park. Save that. I want to show an image, so I'll pop an image in there, and then there's some of this information. So industry, site address, location. So this is going to be a text field. Industry, location, website address. And then industry, this is real estate, I think. Location is Cleveland, Ohio, and the web address is this. And we'll make this fancy. Alright, so we've got our portfolio project. The single thing is done, and it looks exactly how I want it to look. Here's my header. Here's an image. If I want, maybe I want to put a gallery down here, whatever. Okay, so remember that in my portfolio, I have a bunch of these. And let's say that I've got 50 or 60 of these things. Well, even with Divi's really nifty tool of being able to utilize existing layouts or save your layout, which is typically what I would do, you still have to go through each and every one of these. So let's just go ahead and do it. I'll save this. I'll say here's my single template for portfolio projects. Great. Okay, so I'll update this. Now I'm going to go to the next project, which is Village of Westfield Center. And okay, I'm going to use the Divi Builder, and I will go ahead and load the layout, my saved layouts, find the one that I just did right here. Okay, but this is all well and great, but remember that I have to go through each one of these now. Now I have to go back and change them. That is going to suck, and it's going to take forever. So this is where this last plugin that I forgot, this custom content shortcode, is a lifesaver. So check this out. First, let's go to add a new plugin, and let's grab custom content. Should pop up here in a minute. Okay, there it is. Want to go ahead and install that and activate it. And what this is going to do is this plugin allows you to use shortcode, and instead of having to change these things, we could just implement the shortcode. Now, there was a learning curve with this. This took me a little bit of time to figure out all the shortcode. There's a lot of kind of trial and error. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the ones that I used, but I would encourage you to check this out. There's a pretty good tutorial here. So if you go in and you look at these, it will tell you how to use the plugin. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to get into the fields that I know and what I want to display. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my portfolio page where the header is. I'm going to replace this with some shortcode, just like this, field title. And when I save it, what that plugin does is it accesses this custom post type, and when we go in and take a look at it, we'll see this name. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we want that image in there, and how we're going to do that is by putting this piece of shortcode in. Actually, let's remove this. I'm going to duplicate this text module, and I'm going to highlight all this, and I'm just going to put this field space image. And then the last thing that I have is the project data. So I'm going to replace this with field industry. Oops. This will be field location, and this will be field website address. And I believe that we should be able to make this a link. I guess we're going to find out. Cool. All right, so now here is where the beauty is. This is what's awesome. Now I can save this layout with all my shortcode and say dynamic. Let's save this as dynamic portfolio layout and update. And now when I go to the next one, blow your mind. Let's go ahead and clear this layout, load layout, go to my saved layout and click this dynamic portfolio, hit update. Let's take a look. How cool is that? So you could go through, now we don't have to change, we don't have to go through and retype everything. So I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. I hope I've helped some people. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up. Any comments, questions, put them in the comments section, or you can reach me directly, j.goodman@absolute0.net. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot.